Chances are, if you clicked on this video, you're probably one of these ranks on Faceit. Or you've recently decided to start playing Faceit and realize just how different it is from Premier. Regardless of where you're at in your journey, I'm going to provide you with a checklist of exactly what you need to do to escape low elo on Faceit. And the reason why you should take my word on this is because I have over 2,500 games played on Faceit, climbing all the way from level 3 to 2,500 elo level 10. Before we get started, I'm going to quickly share with you a goal that I have of reaching 50,000 subscribers on YouTube before the end of 2025. So if you enjoy the content and want to see more guides in the future, you should consider subscribing. Let's get started. The very first thing we need to address is your settings. Most things in CS are entirely based on your preference, such as your HUD, resolution, and view model, but there are some things that without a doubt will serve as a disadvantage if you don't fix them. First being key bindings. Please, for the love of God, remove scroll wheel from cycling through nades. It takes almost twice as long to find the correct nade to throw via scroll wheel versus literally just pressing one key to pull out the exact nade that you need. Personally, I have mouse button 4 set to flash, mouse button 5 set to smoke, X for Molotov, 5 for HE, and Z set to decoy, if I ever have one. What you can bind to mouse wheel instead is jump, but this isn't entirely necessary, but is also super common in higher elos. The second setting you should change is your radar settings. One of the biggest issues with some of the clients I coach is their map awareness, and what this really boils down to a lot of the time is poor radar settings. Ideally, you should be able to see the entire map at a glance, and during times in the round where you don't need to be staring at your crosshair, this is exactly where you should be looking. Another setting you should look at is toggle radar zoom. I currently have this set to caps lock, and what this enables me to do is zoom in on the map when I absolutely need to. Good reasons to bind this is to check if you're stuck on an enemy in a smoke, also to accurately know where the bomb is planted in relation to your player model in case you need to spray the diffuser. Lastly, you need to really consider altering your sensitivity if it falls outside of the average EDPI of most pro players. Of course, this is also personal preference, but there is a reason why the best players in the world all fall into a certain average EDPI, that being anywhere between 700 and 950. To calculate your EDPI, all you have to do is take your in-game sensitivity and multiply that by your DPI. Personally, I have a DPI of 400 and an in-game sensitivity of 2.0, which leaves me with an EDPI of 800. Now, of course, this isn't 100% mandatory that you fall into this range, and this setting does kind of blur the lines between necessary and preference. After all, there are pro players out there that have insane DPIs of 2,000 plus and can perform quite well even at the professional level. But if you're struggling to improve and want to make things easier on yourself, I encourage you to at least adjust your sensitivity more towards this range. Everything outside of this is entirely personal preference, and if you want to change your video settings to have the game run better, there are countless other guides on YouTube that will show you everything you need to do to get more FPS. However, I can't show you all of those things without this video becoming longer than it actually needs to be, which takes us to step 2. But before we do that, let's talk about the sponsor of today's video. SkinsMonkey is an automated CS2 trading site. SkinsMonkey provides an instant way to get new skins. If you encounter any issues, there's a 24/7 live chat support. To find the perfect skin, there's a filter tool and a search bar to find exactly what you're looking for. If you use my promo code RyderDie, you can start trading on SkinsMonkey and earn up to $5 for free. Trade $100 worth of skins to make the most of it. But if you'd rather buy your skins, you can use my promo code RyderDie to earn a 35% deposit bonus. Thank you, SkinsMonkey, for sponsoring this video. So for step 2, we're going to be talking about mechanics. Everyone should have their own training routine that focuses equally on raw aim, counter strafing, crosshair placement, recoil control, and movement. And if you're at a loss for what routine you should adopt, there are seriously countless videos on YouTube solely dedicated to training CS mechanics. But one thing that helped me tremendously as a new player was deathmatching. However, I am aware of the annoyance some people experience when deathmatching, especially considering that you do spend a lot of time getting shot in the back or shooting someone else in the back. Something that I've recently discovered and I enjoy quite a bit is actually 1v1 servers. XPlay hosts some really good servers you should check out, and no, this video is not sponsored by them, but they do have some really good 1v1 servers. I won't beat around the bush at all, and I'll just go right out and say it. Getting out of lower levels has a lot to do with your mechanics. In these ranks, if you're able to outgun everyone, wins will naturally come. And sure, this is true in all ranks, but the higher elo you go, players will have more creative ways to make gunfights more difficult for you. So just simply being better mechanically won't always result in round wins. But in lower elos, players have very limited options to stop you if you're able to outduel them. This is also compounded by the fact that lower level players have a difficult time playing off their teammates, which results in more isolated 1v1s. What this looked like for me when I was around this level was shooting bots to practice my counter strafing and recoil control, completing the KZ hub a few times, which you can find on the CSStats Workshop Map, link to that is in the description, followed by an hour or so of deathmatching. After that was done, I would take a considerable break and then hop right into some Faceit games. Okay, moving on to step 3, I want to talk about something I noticed a few weeks ago when I made the video called the skill gap between each rank. What I noticed was this bizarre discrepancy in utility usage between levels 1 through 5 and 6 through 10. The main difference I saw in players that were levels 6 through 10 was how many lineups these players knew and how effectively they threw nades in comparison to lower level players. What a lot of lower level players do is either A, leave spawn with an entire belt of utility and then waste all of it within the first 20 seconds of the round, or B, leave spawn with an entire belt of utility and play the rest of the round as if they don't have any nades. Now, in order to fix this, all you have to do is start learning lineups and actually practicing them, which in all honesty can be really boring, but it will make your games so much easier in exchange. And if your problem is wasting all your utility at the start of the round, what I recommend is watching demos of high elo Faceit games on YouTube. Try and replicate exactly how these players are throwing their utility, and also start to understand that dying with utility isn't the end of the world, just as long as you're trying to find meaningful ways to throw your nades. With that out of the way, let's move on to step 4. The next step is likely the most important step, and it's all about shifting your mentality. The number one thing that players stuck in low elo with hundreds, if not thousands, of games all have in common is this, and these. Yes, these are all comments made on my videos complaining about how people have bad teammates, therefore winning is impossible. These players will pass blame onto literally anyone they possibly can, just as long as it's not themselves, which is absolutely absurd in every way imaginable. The only person you can guarantee will be in 100% of all of your matches is yourself. So wasting time being frustrated at a random player's poor performance does literally nothing. Yes, you'll have games where someone literally doesn't get to kill all game and you're left with a 4v5 for the entirety of the match. Sure, in that instance, they're likely the sole reason for the loss, but what does that do for you? What benefit comes from being frustrated at a random teammate's scoreline? All any of this does is just distract you from how you as a player can improve. Even if you're not the biggest reason why you lost, there are still ways you can improve, but spending all your time being blinded by other people playing bad and never taking accountability for your own gameplay is the surest way anyone can be stuck in their elo regardless of their skill level. For step number 5, which is our final step, remember to enjoy the game that you're playing. A long time ago, I used to be super into League of Legends. Around this time, I was also super into a YouTube channel ran by someone named Coach Curtis, who basically made guides on how to get better at the game. Some of the videos he made were great, others were okay, but there was one video in particular that really stuck with me even after I stopped playing League. It actually wasn't a video on his main channel, but rather his podcast, but that's aside from the point. Anyway, that something was along the lines of what he called the fun factor. Basically, what he described was his first time playing Rocket League and how chasing the ball was the fun part of playing the game. But he quickly realized that wasn't the easiest way to win games. What was the easiest way to win games was sitting back and trying to predict where the ball was going and then finding openings to score. But that wasn't the fun way of playing in his eyes. The reason why I share this is because this is something you need to decide. And the earlier you do it, the better. Does the fun of playing Counter-Strike simply come from playing the game, regardless of the outcome? Or does the fun come from actually winning games and earning elo? I made my decision prior to beginning my CS journey, and I knew from the very beginning that improving and winning games was the way I was going to have fun with CS, because that's how I've treated every game I played. There is no shame in choosing to just chase the ball, but I don't think that's likely the case since you clicked on this video. Well, that's all I have, and those are the 5 steps. So if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with my content and help me reach 50,000 subscribers this year, then you should consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.